In the late hours of a cold New York night, a thin man with tired eyes walked through the empty streets as if he were drifting between worlds. His long coat swayed in the wind, and each step echoed through the stone walls around him. This was Nikola Tesla, a man who tried to give light to the world, yet spent most of his life standing in the shadows. The city he once dreamed of powering with free energy now barely noticed him. But inside his mind, storms of ideas were still raging, brighter than any lightning that ever struck the earth. Tesla was not born for small dreams. As a child in Smiljan, he watched lightning split the sky over the fields and felt something awaken inside him, an understanding deeper than fear, almost as if the electricity was speaking to him. He would later say that the flashes were like messages from nature itself, and everything he would build in life came from chasing those messages. Even in his early years, he imagined machines powered without fuel, light created without fire, and energy traveling through the air like sound. When he arrived in America, he carried only 4 cents, a book of poems, and a head full of impossible ideas. Yet he walked off the ship with a confidence that made strangers step aside. He believed destiny would open a door for him, and it did, in the form of Thomas Edison. Their first meeting was tense but electric. Edison was practical, driven, and confident to the point of stubbornness. Tesla was the opposite. Quiet, mathematical, almost prophetic. Edison wanted small improvements. Tesla wanted revolutions. Their clash was inevitable. Tesla worked for Edison for only a short time, improving machines that Edison believed were already perfect. But soon Tesla realized that Edison did not understand him. Perhaps no one truly did. Tesla saw the world as patterns of energy. Edison saw it as a battlefield where practical ideas survived and fantasies died. When Tesla suggested using alternating current, Edison dismissed it instantly. AC was too dangerous, too unpredictable, he said. But Tesla saw beauty in its waves, the natural rhythm of the universe. So Tesla walked away, choosing poverty over limitation. He dug ditches to survive. But even then, when workers rested, Tesla drew diagrams in the dirt. Motors, coils, transmissions of power. Everything he imagined felt real to him long before it existed. And one afternoon, while the sun burned over the city, he stood up from the trench he was digging and declared, "I have solved it." The induction motor, a device that would change electricity forever, had taken shape fully formed in his mind. When Westinghouse discovered Tesla's genius, he pushed him to the world stage. Suddenly Tesla, who once slept hungry, found himself in laboratories filled with shining copper coils and humming machines. He worked with a speed that stunned even trained engineers. He never needed calculations on paper. He simply saw the machines working inside his mind, rotating in perfect silence. It was as if he could step into the future before anyone else. The war of currents began soon after. Edison fought fiercely to defend the system he trusted, using fear as a weapon. Newspapers screamed warnings about a sea, calling it deadly, reckless, immoral. But Tesla did not break. He was calm, almost serene, as if he knew time was on his side. And he was right. When the lights of the 1893 Chicago World's Fair turned on, powered entirely by Tesla's alternating current, the world gasped. The fairgrounds glowed like a city from another planet. Strangers looked up at the lamps with open mouths, whispering Tesla's name, even if they did not know how to pronounce it. Victory tasted sweet, but Tesla barely stopped to celebrate. His mind was already flying somewhere else, far beyond the fairgrounds, beyond even the horizon of the planet. If electricity could power a city, why couldn't it power the Earth itself? Why couldn't energy be sent wirelessly across continents? Why couldn't the world be free? Colorado Springs became the playground of his boldest dreams. There, under the endless sky, he built a tower capable of calling lightning from the heavens. Witnesses spoke of nights when the entire plane lit up like a second sun, when blue sparks danced around Tesla's body as if greeting an old friend. Some said he could walk through the coils without fear because the electricity obeyed him. Others whispered that the storms came when he asked for them. One night, the experiment went too far. The generators overloaded, the power lines outside the city exploded, and suddenly the entire town fell into darkness. Tesla apologized the next morning with his characteristic calmness, promising the power company that he would replace the system as soon as possible. But deep down, he knew something extraordinary had happened. He had proven that energy could travel through the Earth itself, a discovery big enough to rewrite the future of humanity. But the world was not ready. When Tesla moved to Long Island to build Wardenclyffe Tower, he believed he was constructing the first piece of a global wireless energy network. The tower rose from the ground like a giant wooden skeleton, crowned with a copper dome that gleamed under the sun. Tesla paced beneath it at night, whispering to himself, "This will change everything." Yet the investors who once applauded him began to tremble. Free energy? No wires? No meters? No profit? The financial world turned its back on him. Newspapers mocked him. Some called him a magician. Others called him insane. Without money, Wardenclyffe froze in silence, the tower standing like a half-built monument to a future that never arrived. Tesla's life slowly drifted into solitude. He lived in hotel rooms, feeding pigeons in the park, speaking softly to them as if they were the last living beings who truly understood him. And in a strange way, maybe they did. For Tesla believed that even the smallest creature carried a spark of the universe, and he treated every living thing with gentle respect. He would often say, "There is a connection between all things," and though people laughed at him, modern science would one day prove him right. Yet even in his final years, Tesla continued to fill notebooks with diagrams and equations, machines that could see through walls, vibrations that could split mountains, devices that could transmit images across any distance, decades before television. Ideas that seemed impossible until one day they weren't. And here lies the silent truth. Much of the technology we use today echoes Tesla's forgotten sketches. Radios, wireless signals, remote controls, fluorescent lighting, turbines. In every modern device, there is a whisper of the man who imagined them first. Even now, in laboratories around the world, engineers rediscover principles Tesla described a century ago. It is almost as if he left a trail of light for the future to follow. When Tesla died alone in his hotel room, the world barely noticed. The newspapers printed small paragraphs. His belongings were boxed. But then something strange happened. The U.S. government quietly collected his papers. Files were locked, notes were examined, and some documents simply vanished. For decades, no one truly knew what Tesla had built in those final years, and perhaps no one ever will. But the surprise, the twist hidden behind the curtain, is something Tesla himself predicted. Years before he died, when a reporter asked him how he wanted to be remembered, Tesla smiled weakly and said, "The present is theirs. The future, for which I really worked, is mine." And he was right. Because today, his forgotten ideas are rising again. Wireless transfer of power, global communication, artificial lightning, renewable grids that echo the rhythm of alternating current. Engineers and scientists who once ignored him now study his notebooks. Technologies that seemed impossible now feel inevitable.